Hello everyone and welcome back to the GH24 News channel. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Before we start, hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. In Alexis' office, Ava says she'll get to the point, and she knows Alexis is the trustee of the Cassadine estate. Ava assumes a pastoral error has been made, and the Cassadine estate has taken plutocrat from her accounts, which she wants back. She asks Alexis to grease the return of her plutocrat, and she'll get out of her hair. Alexis says it gives her great pleasure to tell her that the Cassadine estate does owe her a song. Ava explains this plutocrat was part of her divorce agreement, and she was a good woman to Nicholas, and he didn't make it easy. Alexis says the Cassadines don't make it easy for anyone as they're bad people. She reminds Ava that she left Nicholas more times than she can count. Ava admits their relationship was unpredictable, but she loved him, and that's why Nicholas was generous. She says the plutocrat is rightfully hers, so give it back. Alexis says her job is to keep the estate total until Ace is 21, so Ava can appeal to him also. Ava assumes Alexis is loving this. Alexis says it's a perquisite in a job she didn't want. Alexis says this plutocrat is hers to a portion, but Ava thinks she could find a way to help her if she wanted to. Alexis states she's guarding an innocent child who doesn't earn any of this. Alexis shows her the door, letting her know that, according to the terms set by people in Greece who are her, she'll no way see a song of that plutocrat again. Ava says she had to try, and this is over. She would give up everything promised to her. Ava leaves, and Alexis says, couldn't have happened to a further meritorious person. Michael calls Sasha into his office to talk. He explains he needs her help and thinks he and Willow are headed for a divorce. Michael explains she's filed for separation, and it seems Nina may be impacting her studies and opinions. He has no idea what's going on in Willow's head presently. Sasha offers to reach out to Nina, but Michael isn't asking that. Michael says after speaking with Diane, he has to prepare for the worst. He may have to go public with Willow and Drew's affair. She assumes he wants to make sure their affair is kept secret. Michael says he no way allowed. Willow would act this way, but she's still a good mama. Sasha believes so, too, but divorce can be unattractive, and people are brooding in Willow's observance right now. Michael doesn't want their kiddies to see the worst of him and Willow. He saw that with his own parents during their divorce. Sasha promises not to tell anyone about their night, as she's leaving city. This discussion has solidified it. Michael doesn't want her to leave city because of him. Sasha says she doesn't have a choice, and she's pregnant. Michael realizes the baby is his. She was reluctant to tell him. He thanks her for telling him, but asks why she was considering not doing it. She says this wasn't planned, but he wouldn't let her go through this alone. She explains she wants this child and doesn't want anything from him. She knew if she told him that he'd want to be a father, but she doesn't want him involved. She doesn't want to hurt him, but a baby who's a Corinthos and a Quartermain will have a complicated life. The Quartermains have made selling one another an art, and his father has put Michael in a certain position growing up, and she doesn't want this baby to have to deal with that moreover. Michael can't pretend he's not the father and wants to be a part of this baby's life. Sasha knows most women would love the support he's immolation, but she's thinking long-term. This wouldn't help his guardianship case with Willow. Michael hates having to choose between who he's a father to. Sasha says all she wants from Michael is his trust that she'll be a good mama and that she'll do what's right for their child. Michael hates it but understands. He'll agree to her plan but needs commodity from her in return. In Sunny's spa, he struggles in the ring and grabs his casket. Isaiah appears, tells Sunny to take it easy, and introduces himself. He asks what's going on. Sunny says he has miserliness in his casket. Isaiah finds his palpitation is presto, so he asks Sunny to take deep breaths in and out. He believes he's passing atrial fibrillation and calls for an ambulance. The paramedics arrive, and Sunny's heart rate gets back to normal. Isaiah tells him he needs to be admitted to GH for observation, but Sunny says that isn't going to be. The paramedics leave, and Isaiah tells him this is serious and asks if he has had symptoms before moment. Sonny invokes Croker. Customer honor and wants his word that nothing will know what happened then. He explains in his business, weak individualities are taken out. Isaiah wouldn't tell anyone, but they're talking about his heart. Sonny asks if this will be again. Isaiah asks him colorful questions, similar as if he'd symptoms before moment. Sonny says he did. He also was shot in the casket 20 times agone. And his heart stopped. Isaiah recommends he see a cardiologist, as there's a chance this could be again. However, he could live numerous times, but if he ignores it, if he acts on this. Isaiah says ignoring this would be foolish, and he doesn't suppose Sonny is a fool. He gets the feeling Sonny has a lot of people who watch about him. Isaiah warns him that, grounded on what he's seen moment, Sonny has a ticking time bomb in his casket. Drew arrives at the sanitarium and checks in with Willow after their important Christmas at Nina's. He asks how she's holding up. Willow says Lucas' words had an impact, and she's trying to concentrate on the future. She notes that speaking of the future, shouldn't he be on his way to DC? Drew says he was going to pick up Scout but wanted to see her first. Willow is glad as now she can tell him that she's so proud of him, and soon he'll have much more important voices clamoring for his attention. He says she's the only voice that matters. He says this is passing because of her. She says she's happy for him. Drew says that's the reason he's then, and he'd like her to be at the swearing heft. She notes it doesn't feel right to go alone, so Drew says to bring Wiley as Scout will be there too. Willow thinks it's not a good idea as she and Michael just separated, and the Quartermaines are keeping what's going on under wraps. However, people may talk, and it could come a reproach if she comes with him. Drew doesn't see it as a reproach, and he'd like to spend an important moment in his life with people who count to him. Willow says she was always planning to go, just with Michael, so she'll go anyway, and she'll bring Wiley. Drew thanks her, as it'll mean a lot to him and Scout. In Prague, Valentine accuses Lulu of lying and bringing Dante with her, but she swears she didn't. As Dante tries to reason with him, saying a life on the run is no life for a little girl, on a near roof, someone has a rifle aimed on Valentine. Charlotte approaches them, but Lulu suggests she go back to her seat, and they'll be done soon. She does, and Valentine says he's not hysterical to make a scene in front of his son. Lulu suggests they calm down before they attract further attention than they have. Suddenly, a shot rings out and pierces the window. Dante grabs Lulu and dives to the ground, and Valentine hits the bottom, too. Lulu rushes to look for Charlotte as we see Colette on the roof of the structure, packing up her gun. In Port Charles, Anna shows up at Brennan's Metro courtroom and says they've a serious problem. He invites her in and notes he does have an office. He asks why she's then. Anna says Lulu and Dante went to Prague to search for Charlotte, and she assumes he formally knows this. As they argue, Jack's phone rings. He goes to answer his phone, and it's Colette. She says there's a complication and that Valentine has gone missing with the girl. Suddenly, Anna tasers Brennan, who passes out. Brennan ultimately wakes up shackled to some cabinet work. He asks if this is her idea of foreplay, while effects aren't going to work out between them. Anna says she needs to talk to him, and he needs to hear her. She says Emma told her that they met, and that's the first and last time he's to speak to Emma. He explains he was only talking to Joss when she introduced him to Emma. He only met her for all of 30 seconds. Brennan says she looks a lot like she did times agone. And probably has her disposition. Anna tells Jack that Emma isn't to be used by him or the WSB, and that he'll not destroy her life the way he has so numerous others. She tells him that Emma is off limits. Brennan can appreciate her concern for Emma, but she could have done this without the theatricality. She says now he knows how far she'll go for those she loves. He gives her this bone. But says if she comes for him again, it'll end veritably else. Back in Prague, Valentine and Charlotte have escaped. Lulu tells Dante she put an air label in Charlotte's bag, and they can track them with it. Lulu races outdoors, and Dante follows her. Lulu blames him for everything that went awry, but Dante says she should have told him what she was over to and that she can't run through the megacity without leads. He thinks they need to turn to the police, but Lulu doesn't have time for non-natives to do their jobs. Dante says they don't know the megacity or the language, and they can't do this themselves. Dante and Lulu return to the cafe, and Dante explains the situation with Valentine and Charlotte to an officer. The officer asks Dante to communicate him if he recalls anything differently. Dante returns to Lulu, and says they've no idea who the shooter is or where they went, and it'll take time to look through colorful camera footage. Lulu says this was what she was hysterical of, Valentine being shot when Charlotte was with him. Dante promises they will get Charlotte back. Lulu asks how. She says this was her one chance, and he blew it all to hell.